The calm before the storm. It was a quiet night on Earth, one of those evenings where the stars seemed to stretch endlessly across the sky, twinkling with a peaceful rhythm. In a small observatory tucked away in the mountains, Dr. Elena Carter adjusted her telescope. She had spent years studying the stars, mapping constellations, and searching for signs of life beyond Earth. Tonight, however, something was different. The screen in front of her flickered. A strange energy signature appeared, a faint ripple that danced across the atmosphere. At first, she thought it was a glitch. She tapped the console and double-checked the data. The ripple wasn't random. It was deliberate. "Elena, are you seeing this?" Her assistant, Ravi, called from the other side of the room. His voice carried an edge of nervous excitement. She nodded. "It's unusual. Too structured to be natural." Ravi frowned, leaning over her shoulder to examine the monitor. "It's not from a satellite." "No," she replied, her voice barely a whisper. "This is something else." Thousands of miles away, in a secure underground base, similar alarms were going off. Military officials stared at their screens in disbelief as energy levels spiked around the globe. Major General Alex Monroe paced back and forth, his jaw tight. "Get me a report. Now," he barked. A young officer approached, tablet in hand. "Sir, the atmospheric distortions are unlike anything we've seen before. It's almost as if the sky itself is tearing." Monroe stopped in his tracks. "Tearing?" "Yes, sir," the officer confirmed. "And it's spreading." Meanwhile, far beyond the orbit of Earth, an alien mothership hovered near Saturn's rings. The vessel was a marvel of engineering, its sleek, metallic surface reflecting the cold light of the distant sun. Inside, Commander Vorek stood before a massive viewing screen. He was tall, with a stern expression and eyes that glowed faintly green. A holographic image of one of his scouts flickered to life. "Commander, we've detected unusual activity on Earth." Vorek raised an eyebrow. "Elaborate." The scout hesitated. "The humans. They've activated something. A technology we cannot identify." Vorek's lips curled into a sneer. "Impossible. The humans are primitives. Their world is barely worth our attention." The scout shook his head. "With respect, Commander, the energy readings suggest otherwise. I recommend caution." Vorek waved a dismissive hand. "Caution. Against humans. Do not insult me. Increase our surveillance. I want to know exactly what they're doing." Back on Earth, the strange phenomenon intensified. Across the globe, people looked up in awe and fear as the night sky began to shimmer. It started as a faint glow, barely noticeable against the darkness. But soon, it grew brighter, lines of light crisscrossing like veins of fire. In a bustling city, a young boy tugged on his mother's sleeve. "Mom, look. The sky is glowing." She glanced up, her face pale. "That's not normal." Television screens lit up with breaking news. Reporters struggled to find words to describe the phenomenon. Scientists speculated about solar flares or atmospheric anomalies, but no one had a definitive answer. In the observatory, Elena's heart raced as the shimmering intensified. "This isn't a natural event," she murmured. "It's a signal. A response." Ravi looked at her, confusion etched on his face. A response to what? Before she could answer, the sky split open. It wasn't a gradual process. One moment, the stars were twinkling as they always had. The next, a jagged line of pure white light tore through the heavens like a crack in a massive pane of glass. The light spilled out, flooding the world below with an eerie brilliance. In the underground base, Monroe stared at the live feed from a satellite. His voice was steady, but his hands gripped the edge of the table. "What the hell are we looking at?" "It's a portal, sir," the officer replied, his voice trembling. "And something is coming through." In the alien mothership, alarms blared as the viewing screen displayed the phenomenon. Commander Vorek's eyes widened for the first time. This is human technology." The scout's voice was grim. It appears so, Commander. We've underestimated them. Vorik clenched his fists. Prepare the fleet. If the humans are hiding weapons, we will not allow them to challenge us. On Earth, the shimmering light gave way to massive shapes emerging from the portal. Warships, sleek, dark, and bristling with weapons, descended from the sky. They moved with purpose, aligning in a formation that screamed dominance. The world watched in stunned silence. For years, humanity had been viewed as weak, a species barely scratching the surface of space exploration. But now, as the warships cast long shadows over the land, one thing became clear: humanity had secrets. Secrets that even the stars hadn't seen. Elena watched in awe as the warships hovered in the sky. Her hands trembled, not with fear, but with exhilaration. "We've been hiding this all along," she whispered. Ravi looked at her, his eyes wide. "Hiding what?" She turned to him, a small smile playing on her lips. "Our strength." And above them, in the infinite expanse of space, the alien fleet prepared to confront a planet they no longer recognized. The sky breaks. The world stood still, watching as the jagged line of light widened, splitting the night sky into two. It was no ordinary phenomenon. The crack in the atmosphere shimmered like liquid silver, pulsating with an energy that defied comprehension. It was as if the universe itself had torn open a door, and something ancient and powerful was stepping through. In the heart of New York City, millions gathered in the streets, their phones held high to record the spectacle. The glow bathed the towering skyscrapers in an eerie light, casting strange, shifting shadows. The air vibrated with an electric hum, sending shivers down the spines of everyone who watched. A small girl pointed upward, her voice barely a whisper. "Mommy, the sky is broken." Her mother held her close, her eyes glued to the phenomenon. "I don't think anyone can fix it, sweetheart." Above the Earth, the alien mothership orbited silently, its massive structure glinting in the faint sunlight. Inside, Commander Vorik stared at the viewing screen, his once certain demeanor replaced by unease. "Commander, the humans have opened something," the scout said, his voice trembling. "It's emitting energy levels beyond our sensors' capacity." Vorik narrowed his glowing green eyes. "No, they cannot have this technology. This must be a bluff." The scout hesitated. What if it isn't? Before Vorik could respond, a deep rumble echoed across the earth. It was not a sound, but a vibration that resonated in the bones of every living creature. The split in the sky widened further, revealing not empty space, but darkness. A void so deep, it seemed to absorb light itself. And then they emerged. The first warship was massive, it tall black as obsidian and etched with glowing lines of crimson. It moved with an almost predatory grace, sliding out of the rift like a beast stalking its prey. Behind it came another and another, each more intimidating than the last. Their shapes were sleek and angular, designed not for beauty but for destruction. In the observatory, Dr. Elena Carter felt her breath catch in her throat. She grabbed Ravi's arm, her grip iron-tight. "Do you see that?" "I wish I didn't," Ravi replied, his voice barely audible. Elena's mind raced. These warships were unlike anything in Earth's public arsenal. No government had ever revealed technology of this magnitude. And yet, they were undeniably human-made. "How?" Ravi whispered. "How could we build something like this?" Elena shook her head, her eyes fixed on the screen. "We didn't. Not us, at least." In a remote desert bunker, Major General Alex Monroe barked orders to his team. "Get me a line to the president. I want answers." An intelligence officer turned to him, his face pale. "Sir, we've intercepted signals from the warships." "They're human." Monroe froze. "That's impossible." "Not just that, sir." The officer hesitated, then continued. "They've been hiding in a shadow network, undetectable until now. We never knew they existed." Monroe clenched his fists. "What kind of shadow network?" The officer looked him in the eye. "The kind we weren't meant to find. Back in the city, The people watched in silence as the first warship descended lower, its engines emitting a low, resonant hum. It hovered above the skyline, casting a shadow that stretched for miles. From its underbelly, a beam of light shot out, scanning the ground as if searching for something or someone. In the mothership near Saturn, Commander Vorek's voice was a growl. Humans have never displayed this level of technology. This is a trick. It must be. A lieutenant stepped forward. Commander, the readings are clear. Their energy levels surpass even our mothership's core. Vorek slammed his fist onto the console. No, they are primitives. Prepare an assault ship. I will see this deception for myself. The scene shifted to a quiet farm on the outskirts of Kansas. A lone farmer, John, stood on his porch, staring at the glowing sky. His dog barked furiously at the massive warships above, but John remained calm. He took a slow sip of his coffee and muttered to himself, "So, it's finally time." Reaching behind the door, he grabbed a rifle. Old, weathered, and strangely out of place in the modern world. He patted the weapon like an old friend and looked up at the descending ships. "Let's see what you've got," he said, a sly grin spreading across his face. As the ships continued to descend, the alien fleet moved closer to Earth. Their sleek silver crafts darted through the void, forming a cautious formation. Aboard the lead vessel, Vorek's second-in-command spoke. "Commander, should we prepare to fire?" Vorek didn't answer immediately. He stared at the glowing rift in the sky, his expression unreadable. Finally, he said, "No, not yet. Let's see what they're hiding." The rift pulsed once more, sending waves of light rippling across the Earth. The warships aligned themselves, their weapon systems coming online. It was a silent declaration of intent. Earth was ready for a fight. And somewhere deep within the planet, a hidden base buzzed with activity. Scientists and engineers worked frantically, monitoring the unfolding events. A figure cloaked in shadow stepped forward, their voice calm but commanding. "The moment has come. Activate Phase 2. The lights dimmed, and a hum filled the air as a new system powered up. On the surface, the largest warship tilted its bow skyward. A single message was transmitted to the alien fleet. "Leave now. This is your only warning." The hidden arsenal. The alien fleet hovered just outside Earth's orbit, their silvery crafts glinting against the black expanse of space. Commander Vorek paced the bridge of his mothership, his every step heavy with tension. The humans' display of technology was beyond anything his people had anticipated, but Vorek wasn't one to admit fear, especially not to primitives. "Commander," the ship's tactical officer spoke cautiously, "we've detected a planetary defense grid. It was cloaked before, but the emergence of those warships triggered its activation." Vorek frowned. "A defense grid? From where?" The officer hesitated. "The humans have been hiding it, sir. It's sophisticated, far beyond what we thought they were capable of." Vorek's eyes narrowed. "They were hiding in plain sight," he murmured. "Send a probe to test the defenses. I want to know what we're dealing with." On Earth, the secret was finally out. Humanity had been preparing for decades, crafting technology in the shadows, away from the prying eyes of alien surveillance. They had known they were being watched, suspected that invasions were inevitable. So they waited, biding their time, hiding their advancements beneath the surface of a seemingly ordinary planet. In a hidden military facility deep beneath the Arctic ice, General Monroe stood in a command center, surrounded by glowing monitors. Maps of Earth's atmosphere displayed a network of energy fields, each connected to powerful orbital cannons and shield generators. "How long until all systems are online?" Monroe asked. A technician responded, 5 minutes, sir. Once active, the grid will cover the entire planet." Monroe nodded. "Good. Make sure those warships are ready to defend. This isn't just about Earth anymore. If we fail, they'll think we're weak, and the galaxy will descend on us like vultures." Across the room, a scientist whispered to another, "How long do you think we've been keeping this from the public?" Long enough, came the reply. But now they'll see why we kept it secret. As the alien probe approached Earth, it shimmered with an almost invisible cloak. It moved silently, scanning the planet's surface, searching for weaknesses. But as it neared the defense grid, an unseen force activated. The probe froze mid-flight, caught in a web of energy. A blinding beam of light erupted from one of Earth's warships, disintegrating the probe in an instant. On the mothership, Vorik slammed his fist against the console. They destroyed it, without hesitation. The tactical officer's voice was grim. "Commander, this isn't just defense. They're using strategies we've only theorized about. Their technology. It's adapted to counter us specifically." Vorik's mind raced. How had the humans done this? Their progress should have been decades, even centuries, behind the standards of the galactic community. Yet here they were, wielding weapons and systems that rivaled his fleet. Meanwhile, aboard the lead Earth warship, Admiral Eleanor Graves sat in the command chair. Her steel-gray eyes scanned the tactical display. The alien fleet was advancing cautiously, testing Earth's defenses. She smirked. "Typical," she muttered. "They're still underestimating us." An officer approached. "Admiral, the fleet is in formation, awaiting your orders." Graves leaned back, her voice steady. "Maintain position. Let them make the first move. When they do, remind them why Earth is off limits." Her words carried weight. Graves had been a key figure in humanity's secret preparations, overseeing the construction of the hidden fleet and the development of advanced weaponry. She knew the aliens thought humans were disorganized, naive. But the truth was far more complex. "Send a message to the surface," Graves ordered. "Tell them to prepare for Phase 3. If the aliens don't retreat, we'll show them what they're really up against." On the mothership, a junior officer approached Vorik hesitantly. "Commander, I've reviewed the humans' warships. Their energy cores are unusual." Vorik turned sharply. "Explain." The officer took a deep breath. "Their power sources aren't just advanced. They're alive. The cores generate energy in a way that mimics sentient thought. It's as if their ships are alive." Vorik's stomach churned. This wasn't technology. It was something more. Something dangerous. Alive? Impossible. But deep down, he wasn't so sure. Back on Earth, another secret was being prepared. In an underground vault beneath a mountain, a figure in a black suit examined rows of devices that hummed softly. These weren't just weapons. They were something far greater. A scientist approached cautiously. "The neural systems are synchronized, Director. If activated, they'll integrate with the fleet." The figure nodded. "Good. If the aliens push further, they'll learn why we've been called the most dangerous species in the galaxy." Above the surface, the rift in the sky pulsed again, sending shockwaves across the planet. The alien fleet stopped its approach, holding position. It was as if they, too, could feel the shift in the air, a subtle warning that Earth was not as vulnerable as it seemed. On the warships, Earth's soldiers prepared for battle, their faces set with grim determination. In their hearts, they carried the same unshakable belief. Humanity was not just surviving. It was ready to dominate. Admiral Graves leaned forward, her voice calm but commanding. "Let's see if they're smart enough to walk away. If not," she let the thought hang, her hand hovering over the controls. And above them all, the split sky burned brighter, casting the world below in an unearthly glow. Humanity's hidden arsenal was ready, and the galaxy would soon learn that Earth was no longer the prey. It was the predator. The first encounter. The air above Earth buzzed with tension as the alien fleet drifted closer, their sleek ships reflecting the glow of the fractured sky. Inside the mothership, Commander Vorik stood at the helm, his gaze locked on the shimmering rift and the warships that emerged from it. He clenched his jaw, wrestling with a decision he rarely faced. Hesitation. "Commander, one of the human ships is transmitting a signal," his communications officer reported. It's in our language. Vorik raised an eyebrow. Play it. The message was short, calm, and deliberate. This is Earth. Turn back now, or face annihilation. A ripple of disbelief spread across the bridge. The humans weren't begging for peace or offering surrender. They were issuing a warning. Vorik's lip curled into a sneer. They think they can intimidate us. Send a single fighter ship. Test their resolve. The order was met with silence. No one dared to question him, but the unease in the room was palpable. Finally, a sleek alien fighter detached from the mothership, its engines flaring as it shot toward Earth. On the surface, Admiral Graves watched the alien fighter approach. She leaned forward, her hands clasped tightly behind her back. "Here they come," she muttered, arrogant as ever. The fighter darted through the sky, its movements erratic and unpredictable. It was clear the alien pilot was testing Earth's defenses, probing for weaknesses. But the humans didn't flinch. "Activate the Iron Curtain," Graves commanded. A low hum resonated through the warship as an invisible energy field snapped into place, surrounding the Earth fleet. The alien fighter's sensors scrambled, its systems overwhelmed by the sudden interference. The pilot tried to retreat, but it was too late. One of Earth's warships locked onto the target, firing a concentrated energy beam. It wasn't a flashy explosion. It was precise, surgical. The alien fighter disintegrated, leaving nothing but silence in its wake. Graves smirked. First blood. In the mothership, Vorik stared at the empty screen, his face dark. What happened? How did they destroy it so quickly? The tactical officer hesitated. "Commander, their weapons are more advanced than we anticipated. They've neutralized one of our best fighters with a single shot." Vorik's fists tightened. "This changes nothing. They've only provoked us further." The bridge fell silent as Vorik paced. Finally, he turned to his second-in-command. "Prepare an assault squadron. Send a small fleet. I want to see how deep their strength runs." As the alien squadron approached Earth, the warships above the planet began to shift. Their sleek, black hulls moved like fluid, reconfiguring themselves into a defensive formation. From the surface, they appeared to be orchestrating a deadly dance, their movements deliberate and calculated. Graves observed the alien ships on her display. "So they're testing us again," she said, her voice steady. "They won't like the results." She turned to her weapons officer. "Activate the Nexus Array. Let's give them a proper welcome." The Nexus Array was one of Earth's greatest secrets, a weapon that combined human ingenuity with alien technology reverse-engineered from ancient artifacts. As the array powered up, the air around the warships crackled with energy. The alien squadron charged, their ships firing plasma rounds and energy beams that lit up the night sky. But the Nexus Array responded with a vengeance. Beams of pure light erupted from Earth's warships, weaving through the assault like threads of a deadly tapestry. Each beam struck with pinpoint accuracy, dismantling alien ships mid-flight. In a small village in Norway, a family watched from their hillside home as streaks of light cut across the sky. The youngest child, no older than 7, tugged at her father's sleeve. "Are we safe?" she asked, her voice trembling. Her father nodded, though his eyes remained fixed on the glowing warships. "We're stronger than they think," he said softly. "We've always been stronger." On the mothership, chaos reigned. Screens displayed the devastation of the alien squadron, their ships torn apart in moments. Commander Vorik slammed his hand against the console. "Enough," he roared. "Send the Titan-class destroyer. Let's see if their defenses can withstand true power." The Titan-class destroyer was a behemoth, dwarfing the rest of the alien fleet. Its hull was reinforced with alloys so advanced they could absorb the impact of a collapsing star. As it emerged from the mothership's docking bay, its engines roared like thunder, shaking the very fabric of space. Admiral Graves watched the destroyer approach, her expression unchanging. "They're sending in the big guns now," she said. "Good. Let's see what it can do." The destroyer unleashed a barrage of plasma bolts, each one capable of leveling an entire city. The warships dodged and deflected the attacks with astonishing agility, but the destroyer pressed on, its sheer size and firepower forcing them into a defensive position. Graves nodded. "Bring out the black spear." At her command, one of Earth's warships broke formation. It was smaller than the others, but its sleek design hinted at something far deadlier. The black spear accelerated toward the destroyer, its hull glowing with an ominous light. On the mothership, Vorik watched with interest. "What is that?" he asked, leaning closer to the screen. The tactical officer analyzed the data. "Unknown, Commander. Its energy output is off the charts." The black spear reached the destroyer and released a single projectile, a tiny, unassuming device that latched onto the hull. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the destroyer began to implode. The implosion wasn't chaotic. It was controlled, precise. The massive ship folded in on itself, collapsing into a singularity before vanishing completely. Vorik's heart pounded in his chest. "They've weaponized singularity technology," he whispered. "How?" The humans had made their message clear. Earth was not a planet to be underestimated. And this was only the beginning. A message from Earth. The battlefield above Earth was eerily silent. Where the alien Titan-class destroyer once loomed, there was now only a void, a chilling reminder of humanity's hidden strength. The alien fleet hesitated, their formations breaking as doubt crept into their ranks. For the first time, they faced the possibility that their assumptions about Earth had been dangerously wrong. On board the alien mothership, Commander Vorik stood motionless, staring at the space where his destroyer had vanished. His hands clenched into fists. "They annihilated a Titan-class vessel," he growled. "No species, primitive or advanced, has ever done that." The tactical officer's voice wavered. "Commander, we should consider retreat. The humans have shown capabilities beyond our comprehension." Vorik slammed his fist onto the console, the sound echoing through the bridge. "Retreat? No, this is no longer about Earth. If we back down, every species in the galaxy will see us as weak." A sudden alert interrupted him. The humans were transmitting another signal. "Play it," Vorik ordered. The voice of Admiral Eleanor Graves filled the bridge, calm and measured, yet carrying a weight that made every alien present uneasy. "This is Admiral Graves of the Earth Defense Fleet. You have crossed a line. Your fleet has fired upon our planet, and we have responded accordingly. Let this be your only warning. Retreat now, or we will unleash our full capabilities. You do not want to see what Earth is truly capable of." The message ended abruptly, leaving a heavy silence in its wake. The alien officers exchanged uneasy glances. Even Vorik's resolve faltered for a moment. In the Earth warship's command room, Admiral Graves leaned back in her chair, her steely eyes fixed on the tactical display. Around her, the officers and crew moved with precision, their confidence unshaken. "They'll either retreat or double down," Graves said. "And if it's the latter, we'll be ready." A younger officer hesitated before speaking. "Admiral, do you think they'll call our bluff?" Graves allowed herself a small smile. "Bluff? That wasn't a bluff, Lieutenant. That was a fact." Above the planet, the alien fleet began to shift. Vorik had made his decision. A series of smaller ships broke off from the main fleet, forming a new assault wave. This wasn't a simple test. It was an all-out attack. The skies lit up with streaks of green and blue plasma as the alien ships opened fire, their weapons targeting Earth's warships. The humans responded in kind, their advanced weaponry slicing through the void with deadly precision. Explosions dotted the battlefield, but the human fleet held firm, their formations unyielding. In the midst of the chaos, a new phenomenon emerged. The rift in the sky, still glowing with its strange, otherworldly energy, began to expand. It pulsed rhythmically, sending ripples across the atmosphere. Both sides paused momentarily, their attention drawn to the growing anomaly. On the bridge of the Earth flagship, a scientist's voice broke through the comms. "Admiral, the rift is reacting to the energy from the battle. It's evolving." Graves frowned. "Explain." "The energy signatures indicate that the rift is stabilizing into a permanent gateway," the scientist continued. "We don't know where it leads, but it's not natural. It's as if something, or someone, is using the battle to trigger its activation." Graves stood, her mind racing. If the rift becomes a gateway, this battle could escalate far beyond Earth. We can't allow that to happen. On the alien mothership, Vorik received similar reports. His scientists analyzed the rift, their conclusions sending shivers down his spine. "Commander, the humans didn't create this rift," one of them said. "It's ancient, predating their civilization by millennia. But their technology has somehow tapped into it, awakening its full potential." Vorik's glowing green eyes narrowed. If the humans didn't create it, then who did? The question lingered ominously as the rift pulsed again, brighter and more forceful this time. From its depths, faint shapes began to emerge, shadows against the shimmering light. They were vast, incomprehensible, and moving with purpose. Admiral Graves watched as the shadows grew clearer. Her heart sank. "This isn't just an invasion anymore," she said. "Something else is coming through." She turned to her communications officer. "Send another message to the alien fleet. Patch me through directly to their commander." The officer hesitated, then nodded. Moments later, Vorik's image appeared on the main screen, his expression unreadable. Graves spoke first. "Commander Vorik, you've seen the rift. You've seen what's coming. This battle isn't about Earth and your fleet anymore. If we don't act together, neither of us will survive." Vorik studied her carefully, his pride and fury warring with his growing unease. "And why should I trust you, human? You've hidden your strength, your intentions." Graves didn't flinch. "Because if you don't, what comes next will destroy us all." The rift pulsed one final time, and from its depths emerged a colossal entity, a ship so massive it dwarfed even Earth's largest warships. Its design was alien, yet eerily familiar, as though it belonged to an ancient civilization both species had long forgotten. On Earth, in bunkers and homes, humanity watched in horror as the new arrival cast its shadow across the planet. The war between Earth and the alien fleet seemed insignificant in comparison to the unknown threat now looming above. In the silence that followed, a single message was transmitted from the colossal ship. It was in no language known to either species, yet it was understood by all. "Prepare to be judged." The counterattack. The colossal ship loomed above the planet, its surface a labyrinth of shifting metallic patterns that seemed alive. Its presence silenced the battlefield, a chilling reminder of powers that both humans and aliens had yet to comprehend. The words, "Prepare to be judged," echoed in the minds of every soldier, scientist, and commander, cutting through species and ranks. On the Earth flagship, Admiral Graves watched the massive ship in grim silence. Its energy readings were off the charts, far surpassing anything Earth or the alien fleet had encountered. "Analysis," she barked. A technician's voice trembled. "Admiral, this entity is not just a ship. It's generating biosignatures. We believe it's a hybrid, part machine, part organic." Graves narrowed her eyes. "Is it hostile?" Before the technician could respond, the alien mothership broadcasted a message to all Earth channels. Commander Vorik's voice carried a rare tone of urgency. "Human forces, this is Commander Vorik. We have identified the vessel. It is not of your making, nor ours. It is an enforcer, a relic of the precursors, designed to evaluate and annihilate civilizations deemed unworthy. If we do not act together, we are both doomed." Graves clenched her jaw. "So we're being judged." "Not judged," Vorik replied. "Erased." Above the battlefield, the enforcer ship began to move. Its surface shimmered, and thousands of smaller drones detached, swarming like locusts. The drones weren't just weapons. They were hunters, tearing apart debris, and even space itself as they advanced toward the Earth warships and alien fleet. One of the Earth warships opened fire, its beams slicing through space. The drones dodged effortlessly, their movements impossibly fast. Within seconds, the warship was overwhelmed. The drones swarmed it, dismantling it piece by piece in a spectacle of terrifying precision. There was no explosion, just silence as the ship was reduced to nothingness. Inside the Earth flagship, panic spread through the crew. Graves raised her hand, silencing the chatter. "Focus," she ordered. "We need to adapt. If they're dismantling us, then we hit them where they can't dodge." "Weapons officer, deploy the particle cascade." The officer hesitated. "Admiral, the particle cascade hasn't been fully tested." Graves cut him off. "Then consider this the test. Fire on my command." On the alien mothership, Vorik watched as his own fleet suffered similar devastation. The Enforcer drones moved like a hive, ripping through even his most advanced vessels. His second-in-command turned to him, fear in her voice. "Commander, we're losing too many ships. If we don't—" Vorik interrupted. "Enough. Deploy the Singularity harpoons." The crew froze. Singularity harpoons were weapons of last resort, capable of creating micro-black holes. Their use was forbidden, even in war, but desperation overruled caution. "Yes, Commander," the officer replied, his voice heavy. As the drones closed in on the combined Earth and alien fleets, humanity struck first. From the Earth flagship, a massive burst of golden energy erupted, the particle cascade unleashing an expanding wave of destructive particles. The drones caught in its path disintegrated instantly, their advanced materials unable to withstand the onslaught. The alien fleet followed suit, harpoons launched from Vorik's destroyers, latching onto the Enforcer ship. Their tips burned white-hot as they tore into the hull, releasing micro-black holes that began consuming sections of the massive vessel. For a moment, it seemed as though the counterattack was working. But the Enforcer wasn't done. The massive ship pulsed, and the drones suddenly merged into a single enormous construct. A living weapon that acted as the Enforcer's shield. It absorbed the remaining energy of the black holes, stabilizing its form. Then it retaliated. Beams of light, brighter than the sun, lashed out. They weren't random. They targeted the most advanced ships in both fleets, as though the Enforcer were eliminating anything it deemed a threat to its power. On Earth, cities lit up with energy shields as debris from destroyed ships rained down. People prayed, screamed, and stared at their screens as humanity fought against an unstoppable force. Inside the Earth flagship, alarms blared. Graves gripped the edge of her console. "Options," she demanded. A scientist turned to her, his face pale. "Admiral, the Enforcer's cord is exposed for short intervals after it fires. If we time it right, we could deploy the arc bomb." Graves stiffened. The arc bomb was Earth's most devastating weapon, a device capable of rewriting molecular structures, collapsing anything it touched into nothingness. It had been built as a last-ditch effort, never tested, and never meant to be used. She hesitated for only a moment. "Prepare the arc bomb, and get me Vorik." On the alien mothership, Vorik's image flickered onto the Earth flagship's screen. Graves wasted no time. "We have one shot at this. Vorik, your fleet needs to draw its fire. If you don't, none of us survive." Vorik's face hardened. "You ask for a sacrifice." Graves leaned forward, her voice icy. "I ask for survival. Do this, and your fleet won't be remembered as invaders. They'll be remembered as saviors." Vorik stared at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. "We will hold the line. Do not waste this chance, human." As the alien fleet surged forward, their ships became the Enforcer's primary target. They unleashed every weapon they had, drawing the massive ship's fire. The Enforcer retaliated with brutal efficiency, obliterating ship after ship. Amid the chaos, the Earth flagship moved into position. The arc bomb was prepped, its countdown ticking away. Graves stood on the bridge, watching the tactical display. "When the core is exposed, we fire," she said. The Enforcer unleashed another devastating beam, and for a fraction of a second, its core pulsed, vulnerable. Graves didn't hesitate. "Fire the arc bomb." The weapon shot toward the core, a streak of silver against the darkness. The Enforcer reacted, its drones surging to intercept. But the alien fleet held nothing back, sacrificing their remaining ships to clear the path. The arc bomb struck. For a moment, time seemed to stop. The Enforcer's core rippled, its energy collapsing inward. Then, with a blinding flash, the ship began to disintegrate, its immense form unraveling into particles of light. The battlefield fell silent. The Enforcer was gone. Admiral Graves slumped into her chair, exhaustion washing over her. On the screen, Vorik appeared once more, his face weary but resolute. "This battle is over," he said, "but this alliance is temporary. Remember that, human." Graves nodded. "We'll be ready. Next time, we won't hold back." And as the remnants of both fleets drifted in the void, the fractured sky above Earth began to close, leaving only stars and the knowledge that something far greater still waited in the shadows of the galaxy. The truth revealed. The battlefield above Earth was quiet now, the wreckage of alien and human ships drifting through space like solemn monuments to the chaos that had unfolded. The fractured rift in the sky, once a glaring tear in reality, shimmered faintly as it slowly began to seal itself. But the victory was bittersweet. Both fleets had suffered devastating losses, and the ominous presence of the Enforcer still lingered in their minds. In the Earth flagship's command center, Admiral Graves stood before the holographic display, her hands gripping the edge of the console. Around her, the crew moved silently, their faces etched with exhaustion and grief. The Enforcer's destruction had come at a tremendous cost, and the fleet was barely holding together. "Admiral," a technician said softly, breaking the silence, "the rift is stabilizing. But there's something else. Energy readings from the Enforcer's remnants. They're pointing to a signal. It's transmitting deep into the galaxy." Graves frowned. "What kind of signal?" The technician hesitated. "A beacon. It's broadcasting coordinates to an unknown location." Far above, on the alien mothership, Commander Vorik leaned over his tactical display, his expression grim. His fleet was reduced to a shadow of its former strength, and his pride was wounded beyond repair. The humans had proven themselves far more dangerous than he'd ever imagined, and now, this new revelation only deepened his unease. A scientist approached, holding a tablet. "Commander, the signal from the Enforcer. It's activating a chain reaction across the galaxy. Other rifts are beginning to form." Vorik's eyes widened. "How many?" "Dozens," the scientist replied. "Possibly hundreds, all in uncharted regions of space." Vorik exhaled sharply, his mind racing. This wasn't just an evaluation. It was a warning to the galaxy. Something far greater is coming. Back on Earth, in a hidden bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, the president of the Global Alliance stood in a dimly lit war room, surrounded by military and scientific advisors. Screens displayed the aftermath of the battle, along with data pouring in from the remnants of the Enforcer. Dr. Lin, a senior scientist, stepped forward. "Madam President, we've analyzed the Enforcer's technology. It wasn't just assessing us. It was recording everything. Our defenses, our weapons, even our biological data." The president's face darkened. "For what purpose?" Lin hesitated. "We believe it was preparing a report. Whoever built the Enforcer wasn't just interested in us. They're evaluating the entire galaxy." As the rift finally closed, sealing the sky with a brilliant flash, the remnants of the human fleet and the alien armada floated side by side in uneasy silence. Communications opened between Admiral Graves and Commander Vorik once more. "Commander," Graves began, her tone cautious, "we may have fought as enemies, but the Enforcer forced us to fight as allies. We have a common threat now. We need to address it together." Vorek's face was impassive, but there was a flicker of respect in his eyes. "You're bold, human, to think our alliance could last beyond necessity. But I agree, the galaxy is no longer safe for either of us." Graves nodded. "Then let's make a pact. Not peace, but preparation. If these rifts lead to more Enforcers or worse, we'll need each other to survive." Vorek was silent for a moment, then inclined his head. "Very well. But know this, when the true threat is gone, our unfinished war remains." As both fleets limped away from Earth, the world below began to take stock of the day's events. Across the globe, people emerged from shelters, gazing at the stars with a new mixture of awe and fear. The truth could no longer be hidden. Humanity was not alone, and the galaxy was far more dangerous than they'd ever imagined. In the Arctic Command Center, General Monroe sat across from Dr. Lin, a glass of whiskey in his hand. "Do you think they'll come back?" Monroe asked. "They always do," Lin replied, her tone somber. "The question is, will we be ready?" Monroe downed his drink and stared at the glowing tactical map of the galaxy. "We better be." Deep in uncharted space, the beacon sent by the Enforcer continued to transmit. Its signal rippled across vast distances, reaching ancient ruins and forgotten strongholds. On a desolate planet bathed in crimson light, something stirred. Massive structures, long dormant, began to hum with life. Shadows moved within the ruins, and faint lights flickered across the alien landscape. A towering figure stepped forward, its body an amalgamation of organic and mechanical parts. Its eyes glowed with a cold, calculated intelligence as it turned toward the source of the signal. A voice, deep and resonant, filled the air. "The galaxy is awakening. Let the judgment begin." Back on Earth, Admiral Graves stood alone on the bridge, gazing out at the stars. She knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had proven its strength, but now they were on the radar of powers far greater than themselves. Her hand brushed against the console, activating a private log. Speaking softly, she recorded her thoughts. "We survived today, but the galaxy has changed. The Enforcer wasn't just a test, it was a herald. Whatever comes next, humanity will face it head-on. We've been underestimated for too long. Let them come." She paused, her eyes hardening. "We'll be ready." The stars shimmered above, silent witnesses to a galaxy on the brink of awakening. The battle for Earth was over, but the war for survival had only just begun.